Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, and Patriot Mobile. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these incredible videos. And if you don't patronize our sponsors, well...
Who do you think you patronizing now? She might take that shit, man. I don't. I don't have to go to Harvard to know what you're doing. You know what I'm trying to say to you, man? Do you? Yes, you do. Well, then shut the up. You don't tell me how people react to me. I know what people are doing no matter what they say. Because I read minds, you dig? I don't take no off of you. You're lying through your teeth. I know it, you know it, and this hoe know it.
Come on, leave him alone.
Yeah? Yeah?
We know where you live. Another product of Harvard Law School.
One of the laws you write about is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using this statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of visa and green card holders who they seem to deem a threat to U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of the act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about?
Yes, absolutely. One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Yeah. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s?
My goodness, does this include the 13th Amendment that freed the slaves, the 14th Amendment that made newly freed slave citizens, and the 15th Amendment that gave slaves the right to vote, at least on paper? By the way, this is the same Harvard-educated lawyer that called the Constitution trash. And remember this?
Republicans keep saying Biden doesn't need Congress. He can stop what's happening at the border all by himself. Can you fact check that for us? Because we here all know that's not true.
Republicans have been saying, largely wrongly, right, because saying that the president can close the border unilaterally on his own. The president actually doesn't have the authority under law to do that.
There's only so much President Biden can do with executive action, and he did try to do whatever he could.
They actually are doing everything they can.
The president's hands are tied. There's only so much that he can do.
President Biden has issued certain executive orders, but there's only so much he can do within his purview.
What an intractable problem this is for the president with no easy solutions.
No easy solutions here.
There are no easy solutions here, folks.
The president insisting there's only so much he can do without Congress.
How much can actually be done quickly without Congress acting?
How would this happen without the power of the purse, without Congress getting involved?
They need Congress to act to fix the broken immigration system.
This cannot happen without Congress resourcing this.
There's only so much a president can do with his pen and his phone.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, you know, the same violence that is going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
You spent how long, going along the border?
About 4 hours.
And how different was this trip versus past trips
Well, we
during
did not
different
see a
administrations?
single migrant or asylum seeker. And typically, when we go to the U.S.-Mexico border, we at least see one group of people who are trying to cross into the U.S. illegally. We did not see a single migrant. We saw soldiers, Border Patrol agents, and National Guard troops and vehicles and barriers, but no migrants.
Being a Democrat means never having to say, I'm sorry.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Here is yet another example of Representative Jasmine Crockett's disgusting display of hatred. Representative Byron Donalds of Florida is married to someone whose race is apparently unacceptable to Crockett.
And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, like, I mean, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, like, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you? I'm not really sure, like, what it is.
Well,
but
you
I
couldn't
need
even be married to a white woman under Jim
correct,
Crow.
correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? Like, he just out here, you know, I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it.
Now, interestingly, she made that racist comment in June of last year. Oh, it got some coverage, but not as much as it should have. It's now getting more coverage because of the many, many rabid, unhinged, sick things she's been saying. But not to worry, because black women, well, they cannot be racist.
But let's be clear, as you're doing now, the race baiting came from Cheryl Underwood to Sharon Osbourne, and it's now coming from you. So now you can respond.
Cannot be racist, Pierce.
Now you can
Black
respond.
Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
capacity
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
But that's
can.
very much
And you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race
Are you
baiter
kidding
with
me?
no
You're
evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I
You
been
can
a
be
race
racist-
baiter?
You can be racist to me.
When have I been a race
But I'm
baiter?
a powerhouse.
If we continue to put people into office, that even means some of our skin folk are definitely not our kinfolk. Where have we heard that before?
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up. Because we need you to represent that voice.
And hey, as long as one is black, calling another black person an Uncle Tom is perfectly okay. Right, Congressman Benny Thompson?
Clarence Thomas saying that he was an Uncle Tom. What did you mean by that?
Well, if you look at his decisions on the court, they have been adverse to the minority community, and the people I represent have a real issue with an African American not being sensitive to those issues.
Calling him an Uncle Tom, though, isn't that a racially charged term?
For some it is, but to others it's the truth.
Because, you know, looking at that and hearing that kind of language, that certainly wouldn't be, you know, appropriate if it was coming from somebody who was white.
But I'm black.
So it makes it okay?
Well, I mean, you asked me the question, and I'm giving you the response.
Cassius Clay / Muhammad Ali, when he became a Muslim, said, "I'm a man. I can think for myself. I don't have to be what you want me to be." I guess he was wrong. It's about Elon Musk.
Whether it's the fact that we are fighting or we're trying to preserve the Social Security for our mothers and our grandmothers and ourselves, as literally Elon has sat around and said things such as, it's a Ponzi scheme. And the only Ponzi that I see that is scheming is him. He right now is trying to line his pockets with money that should be going to those that need it most, whether it's in the form of healthcare, whether it's in the form of food, whether it's in the form of foreign aid. The things that he is doing, they are harming our country, and there is no reason that we should be looking out and trying to say, well, this guy is the richest man and we just need to make him richer. You are sending a message, and I am so thankful. I'm going to keep screaming in the halls of Congress. I just need y'all to make sure that y'all keep screaming in the streets. But obviously, no matter what, no matter where we are, we know that we are a peaceful, loving people. And this is not about violence. That's what they do when they do insurrections like on January 6th. What we do is we are fighting to preserve freedom in this country for everyone, even people that don't even realize that it's their freedoms that are on the chopping block as well. I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
And about Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin. And I think towards the end, he started to punch a little harder. But, like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
And she mocked Texas Governor Abbott, who was in a wheelchair. She called him Hot Wheels.
And because we in these hot Texas streets, honey, y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Several House Republicans said she ought to be censured.
Look, this is basic decency 101. If she's from Texas, I grew up in Texas, and we know how to treat the ladies and the gentlemen correctly. And the fact that she said this about our governor is despicable.
And you posted on X about the censure. You said, Jasmine, words have meaning and actions have consequences. I look forward to introducing my resolution to censure you for your action, for your words and actions. And with that, I wanted to show you this. Congresswoman Crockett actually tried to walk back remarks on X. Not sure how many people bought into it, but she said, I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. Yeah, your reaction to that, do you buy it?
Not only is she being absolutely unbelievably rude, now she's trying to play the race card as well. She stepped in it big time. She said something that was unbelievably anti-Texan, in my opinion, because we believe in respect. And now she's trying to roll that back. It's not going to work. We're introducing our resolution today. We're going to carry around, get as many people to sign as we can, and make sure that members of the House know that this is not becoming of a member of the United States House of Representatives, and it will not be tolerated.
It's also interesting just to point out the setting where those initial remarks were made. The Human Rights Campaign.
Here's a company, I should say organization, that believes in honoring all humans with rights, and yet she is attacking the governor of Texas because he was an unfortunate victim, if you will, of that tree falling. She should know better than that.
What's your reaction to Jasmine Crockett calling Governor Abbott Governor Hot Wheels?
It's absolutely a disgrace. I mean, the fact that she would talk about someone that's got a disability with such a callous, rude tone, she should be ashamed of herself and she should be censured.
That's what I was going to ask you, if there should be any consequences to that language.
Absolutely. I mean, we shouldn't tolerate that for 1 minute. For her to minimize his disability and use such a crass tone with that is inexcusable. What example does that set to our young disabled people in this country? And the fact that a member of Congress is using that kind of insult on someone with a disability is just, it's shameful.
She says she was referring to the migrant buses.
She's a liar, and it is a pattern with her. There's a social media trail of receipts on her, and she has decided to fashion herself as the insult queen of Congress, and it shouldn't be accepted in any way, shape, or form.
Now, she claimed she wasn't mocking his disability. She claimed she was referring to how Abbott has put illegal aliens on planes, trains, and automobiles and sent them to cities with black mayors. Does Martha's Vineyard have a black mayor?
Republicans are yelling that states don't have the tools to help with migrants, but rather than work with Democrats, Republicans are targeting communities of color in Democratic cities like Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia. And while they say that it's about Democrat-run cities, I do want to point out another similarity that they have. These are cities that are run by African Americans. So while I know that they love to pretend as if there are no racial undertones, it is just striking to me that we specifically are going after African American run cities.
Oh, I'm sure that's what she was referring to. But even if she's censured, it won't matter. Where's the party leader who's asked her to tone it down? Until and unless she suffers in the ballot box, until and unless she's primaried, she'll keep right on going, just as AOC does, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Al Green, and the rest of these Democrat haters.
Did you know that trillions of data records were exposed in 2024? From the AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile data breach that exposed the text records of over 100 million Americans, to the Change Healthcare data breach, or even more recently, a hacking group claims to have stolen every single American Social Security number. People are confused, concerned, and off about the invasion of privacy that's currently going on. And yet, despite these concerns, many people continue to use messaging apps that claim to be private and secure. But are they? These apps also track your location, time spent on the app, your activities within the app, your browser, phone type, carrier, and even other identifiers such as your financial information and political affiliation. Newsflash, if you're not being charged for an app, you are the product. Your data is being collected and used, often without your permission and in ways you might not even realize. Here to tell you more is advisor, board member, and renowned radio and TV host, Larry Elder.
Freedom Chat is a private social messenger that allows you to message who you want and subscribe to the channels you want, all in complete and total privacy. With true end-to-end encryption, soon to be quantum-safe encryption, no storage of messages on your servers, and absolutely no commercial use of user data. Your conversations and your data belong to you, not big tech, not governments, not malicious hackers. Is Freedom Chat, Tanner, easy to use? Am I good at tennis? You see, with Freedom Chat, you can edit, unsend, and self-destruct messages, share images, videos, or GIFs.
It's GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
Really?
It's GIFs.
It's not GIFs?
No, it's GIFs.
When did they change it? Prevent screenshots and customize fonts and colors and enable dark mode, all from one user-friendly dashboard.
Our team is working incredibly hard to make our dreams a reality, and we want you to join us.
Don't watch from the sidelines. Invest in freedom, invest in your privacy, and be a part of history.
Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat.
Download the app today. GIFs?
GIFs.
Honestly?
GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
What does it stand for? It stands for So you heard me talk about Patriot Mobile for a while now. You probably already know that for years, they've stood in the gap for every American who believes that faith, family, and freedom are worth fighting for. They are the real deal. But did you know they've got cutting-edge technology too? Switching is easy. No store visits, no hassle. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% US-based team can activate you in minutes right over the phone. And get this, Patriot Mobile is one of the few carriers with access to all 3 major US networks. That means exceptional nationwide coverage, plus they can even put a second number on a different network on one phone. It's like carrying 2 phones in one. They have unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet on-the-go devices, and home internet backup. You can't get this from the big guys. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today and experience the Patriot Mobile difference. Go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT, and right now use promo code Larry for a free month of service. Switch to Patriot Mobile and defend freedom with every call and text you make. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Now, as long as we're on the topic of race, remember Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's dissent in that affirmative action case? She cited a study that purported to find black newborns have a better outcome with a black doctor. A brief filed by the Association of American Medical Colleges said, quote, "For high-risk black newborns, having a black physician is tantamount to a miracle drug. It more than doubles the likelihood that a baby will live. Yet due to the enduring and significant underrepresentation of minorities in the health professions, many minority patients will not receive care from a racially diverse team or from providers who were trained in a diverse environment, end of quote. And the study was widely covered.
There's new research from the University of Minnesota about black newborn babies. So the research shows that black newborns' in-hospital death rate is cut in half when black newborns are cared for by black physicians rather than white physicians. So joining us now live on Skype to talk more about her research is Dr. Rachel Hardiman with the U of M School of Public Health.
What we were really interested in studying with this particular analysis was the patient-physician relationship and if racial concordance, so having a provider, a physician that is the same racial identity as the newborn, if that mattered for health outcomes. Yeah, so we leveraged some really important data across, almost 20 years to look at nearly 2 million births and to understand what was going on here. And what we saw was that when a black infant, a black newborn had a black physician caring for them, the likelihood of infant death decreased significantly.
A new study finds black newborns are more likely to survive childbirth when they are cared for by black doctors. The study, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, reveals black babies are 3 times more likely than white babies to die in the hospital when they are being cared for by white doctors. While the research found there is little difference to the survival rate of a white newborn in connection to the race of the doctor. Dr. Jessica Shepard joins me now. She is an OBGYN at Baylor University Medical Center and women's health expert.
Now, we do know that this rate is significantly higher when we think of mortality rate in 100,000 deaths per year or live births. We see that may affect maybe 7 deaths per year, jumping up to 40 when we think of African American females and also infants. So that is strikingly different. Now, we know that the reason has a lot to do with structural racism, and also what we see in organizational healthcare is that we are not having the resources or also the alternative treatments for women.
So this study, of course, also went on to reveal that the infant mortality gap shrinks when infants are cared for by black doctors. Did this surprise you? And what does the reason for this seem to be? Why does it seem as though race plays a part in this, medical procedure?
That is something that reigns true in my heart as a Black OBGYN. One of the things is that representation really does matter. And so when you have these patients who have these paucities, depending on if it's financial, depending on if it's living in a food desert, or the access and resources to get them the adequate care that they need during their prenatal time, sometimes just seeing someone who looks like them, who might understand the difficulties and the struggles that they go through as a pregnant mom, these things do impact prenatal care, and also being able to listen to women when they speak, to listen to women when they have symptoms and when they have difficulties throughout their pregnancy, and how to guide them throughout that and make sure that they're being heard, but also getting the adequate care that they need.
Across the country, black babies are more than twice as likely to die than white babies. That's according to the CDC. Now, a new study has found the chance of survival nearly triples if a black baby is cared for by a black doctor. KCTV5's Casey Jones is looking into how the disparity may be playing out in our local maternity wards.
A new study published by the National Academy of Sciences pulled data from close to 2 million hospital births in Florida for over 2 decades. The study found that if black babies were cared for by black doctors, they were twice as likely to survive than if cared for by white doctors. Dr. Johnson explains shared race and culture can help doctors recognize subtle cues.
I know in the African American community, I pick up those things a little bit more often, and patients tell me that in their feedback that I do. That may be something that when you have a different ethnic background of the patient, that may be something that you're not able to see, and maybe it does translate over into the care for the infant.
So what can be done to ensure all babies get the same shot at survival? Tracy Russell, executive director of Nurture KC, says expanding Medicaid is a start because it allows better access to health care regardless of income. Russell also believes bias in medical professionals could play a role in disparities.
When you look at racism and how insidious it is, I think what we often lose track of is it's not just blatant displays, but it's that unconscious bias that's at play too.
So black doctors, when it comes to black newborns, are more caring, more insightful than white doctors, thus producing a better outcome for black newborns? By the way, do black doctors, when it comes to white newborns, care less and are less insightful than white doctors, giving white newborns care and therefore a worse outcome? Or are black doctors just better than white ones? But wait, the Daily Caller writes, quote, "But the study's methods have been called into question. A September 2024 replication effort concluded that the original study authors did not statistically control for very low birth weight newborns at the highest risk of dying. Applying that control zeroed out any statistically significant effect of racial concordance on infant mortality. Now evidence has emerged that the paper's lead author buried information in order to reach the conclusion." And in 2023, after the decision, the Heritage Foundation cited many flaws in the study and the way the study has been interpreted to demonstrate widespread systemic racism in medicine. The study does not claim to find a doubling in survival rates for black newborns who have a black attending doctor. Instead, in its most fully specified model, it reports that 99.6839% of black babies born with a black attending physician survive, compared with 99.5549% of black babies born with white attending physicians, a difference of 0.129%. Not exactly a doubling.
And the statistics are stunning. Black infants are more than twice as likely to die than white infants, a racial disparity that's wider today than in 1850, 15 years before the end of slavery.
Well, what I found in my reporting were really two things, both related to race. The first was that simply the experience of living in America as a black woman does something to your body that causes low birth rate babies, that causes maternal mortality, that causes infant mortality. Second is that there is a kind of racism in the healthcare system, and most of it unconscious. It's a kind of bias that's existed for a long time that we've known about that is affecting the birth experiences of black women in America. It can be everything from, I feel that I'm treated differently, people think I'm less intelligent, to I am being discriminated against by the police in housing and in my workplace. And those actually, it's been proven that those have a physical effect on the body, because every time you get stressed out in this way, and if it happens repeatedly, all of your systems fire up. And if your systems continually fire up, they break down. I think that what we have to do is change the medical system. Something is deeply embedded, a kind of a, I don't want to say individual people are racist. Maybe that is part of it, but this is something that's embedded in the system, it's baked in, and we have to, starting at medical school and before, to start getting doctors to face, and other medical providers to face unconscious bias that is affecting the care that women of color and everyone receives in the healthcare system.
The study does not control whether newborns are low weight, less than 2,500 grams, does not control for whether they are very low weight, less than 1,500 grams. Black babies are almost 3 times as likely as white newborns to weigh less than 1,500 grams.
For decades, black moms and infants have died at much higher rates, and now the state is taking steps to aggressively reduce this over the next few years. I-Team reporter Samantha Kummerer shares just how bad those disparities are and speaks to one woman who is working to change that.
Our moms are angry when they get here. They've called 20 doctors, they've called 20 places, no one wants to take their insurance.
That insurance, Medicaid. Their moms, often black, and facing far more obstacles to get prenatal care than white moms.
The outcomes at birth play a large factor on that patient receiving prenatal care.
The rate of black babies dying is at a 4-year high. Nearly 13 out of every 1,000 black babies born die in North Carolina. a rate 3 times higher than white babies and 2 times higher than Hispanic infants.
Unconscious bias is one reason. The black women myths, black women are prone to pain, so we can take more pain. Black women's skin, not even black women, black people in general, our skins are tougher, and the strong black women, and all of those are just myths.
They stress it's still very safe for women to give birth, but the reasons behind the figures are complex.
Black women are 2 and 3 times as likely to deliver a baby that's a stillborn. They are more likely to deliver babies that are underweight.
Doctors assigned to treat very low-weight babies are more likely to be specialists rather than regular pediatricians or family practitioners. Black doctors are significantly less likely to be found in those specialized fields.
Right now, the infant mortality rate for black babies is almost double the U.S. average. Even worse here locally. Knox County's health department is raising attention and showing us that statistic during the Black Maternal Health Week.
Adrienne Jones raises awareness on fetal and infant mortality. She says community access to fresh foods and affordable housing and even stress contribute to more black women dying from pregnancy-related problems.
If a mom or a family doesn't have access to affordable housing, they're going to be stressed about that.
She says black women at times don't ask for the help they need because of other factors like cultural biases in healthcare.
A lot of times women aren't being heard or seen or believed or treated when they're expressing pain or concern.
Black newborns are more likely to have severe issues that increase their risk of infant mortality, and those severe cases are more likely to have white attending physicians because white doctors are more prevalent in the specialized fields that treat those complications.
Black women in the U.S. are at a much higher risk of losing their babies, according to a new study. The report, Fighting at Birth, Eradicating the Black-White Infant Mortality Gap, finds the infant mortality rate for black women is the highest of any ethnic group. Even factors like education, age, and socioeconomic status fail to impact the racial disparity. Keisha Bentley-Edwards is a co-author of that report. Can you explain why that infant mortality rates are highest for black women? I mean, we do know that unfortunately about 24% of black women in the U.S. live at the poverty line or below. But this isn't just about poverty, correct?
Correct. That poverty was what people pointed to, especially in the last, I'd say, 30 or 40 years, actually even longer than that, as a contributing factor for black women having higher infant mortality rates. However, as we've had war on poverty initiatives as well as healthcare initiatives, these disparities, although the numbers, the infant mortality rates has decreased, the disparity has stayed the same, and for some groups is actually widened.
Why does the rate rise for black women with higher education levels?
Yeah, it's amazing. I was actually surprised that it was that high. I knew that the disparity widened as education levels increase for black women. And really that is a big part of the question. And once you take away age as a factor, you take away marital status as a factor, this gap still remains. And the one thing that you have to look at is racism, both interpersonal and structural racism, as a contributing factor.
The study's comparison of death rates for newborns who have doctors of different races does not take into account the fact that black newborns have a greater likelihood of serious medical complications, and the attending physicians assigned to treat those more challenging cases are more likely to be white.
What's most devastating is that 60% of these deaths are preventable. And often when women, black women, complain of pain or discomfort, it is not taken seriously, which is causing these deaths.
Dr. Neil Shah teaches reproductive biology at Harvard Medical School and is working to build more equity and trust in the healthcare system.
What people are dying of is not the clinical condition on the death certificate.
it's a failure of communication teamwork every time.
During Black History Month, we're looking into some alarming data when it comes to healthcare disparities among races.
Yeah, specifically, doctors saying that Black infants experience the highest rate of infant mortality compared to other races. But why is that? So Kennedy Walker, she joins us live in studio. You've been trying to find the answers to that.
Yes. Good morning, Keith and Madison. Infant mortality remains a concern in the United States, but African-American babies have the greatest risk. Research shows that Black newborns are more than twice as likely to die in their first year compared to white newborns. They are also nearly 4 times more likely to die from complications related to low birth weight, and that's according to the Office of Minority Health. Now, common causes of infant mortality are premature birth, low birth weight, and sudden infant death syndrome, more commonly known as SIDS. And some infant deaths and stillbirths, they are caused by an increase in chronic health conditions among Black women before pregnancy, like type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. But historically, and we've said this before, data trends surrounding Black maternal health outcomes, they are concerning. Black women have experienced higher rates of pregnancy complications, with them being 3 times more likely to die during pregnancy and childbirth than white women, regardless of income, education, or lifestyle. Experts credit this health disparity to structural and systemic racism, which can lead to chronic stress. And stress takes a toll on the body and could ignite biological changes in a woman that can affect her unborn baby's health.
We can't talk about infant mortality rate and racial disparities without talking about structural racism, social determinants of poor health outcomes, like where someone resides, lack of transportation, food insecurity.
This grassroots group comes with supplies and a message. One that's grim but important, and statistically more likely to affect these women. They are more at risk of having serious complications or dying after giving birth.
What we're trying to do is get the word out and educate everyone on Black maternal health, because Black mothers are uneducated about birth. It's surprising, but now I know that there are a lot of mothers that don't know.
It's about medical bias and discrimination. It's about pregnant Black women not feeling heard or seen.
While maternal deaths in America are still relatively rare, they are on the rise. In 2020, nearly 900 women were reported to have died from maternal causes, and in 2021, that increased by 40% to just over 1,200 deaths. But Black women are more likely to die than any other racial group, more than twice as likely than white women.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to speak about the Black Maternal Health Momnibus.
It's a disparity that's been brought up on a national stage. The Momnibus is a multi-part bill introduced to Congress to improve maternal health, particularly among ethnic groups who are affected. Representative Lauren Underwood, who's a registered nurse, says it doesn't matter where you come from or how much money you have, Black mothers are still among the worst off.
We're seeing disparities even among people who have great healthcare coverage, got prenatal care, right? All these factors that would be protective for white moms are not protective for Black moms or Native American moms. And so at its core, we're talking about systemic racism within our healthcare system. And what we want people to know is not only do we have a maternal health crisis in the United States, but it is getting worse.
The study provides no convincing evidence on whether Black newborns with identical conditions would fare better, worse, or no differently with a Black or white doctor. Apart from that...
Oh, that's very different. Never mind.
This reminds me of the research supposedly proving systemic racism by a widely cited, fired former Florida State University criminology professor named Eric Stewart. The New York Post wrote, the academic was fired after almost 20 years of his data, including figures used in an explosive study which claimed the legacy of lynchings made whites perceive Blacks as criminals, and that the problem was worse among conservatives. These were found to be in question. College authorities said he was being fired for incompetence and false results. To date, 6 of Stewart's articles published in major academic journals like Criminology and Law and Society Review between 2003 and 2019 have been fully retracted after allegations the professor's data was fake or so badly flawed it should not have been published, end of quote. You see, when the demand for racism exceeds the supply, it becomes necessary to manufacture more racism. And if you have to manufacture or fabricate data to prove it, well, maybe, just maybe, things ain't so bad.
Why isn't your bank asking what's in your heart? When big banks cancel your account because they don't like your politics, or they share your transaction data with the government, it's no wonder they don't ask what's in your heart. That's not what they care about. Old Glory Bank is different. We're the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Started by Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, and John Rich, we proudly serve customers in all 50 states. Open your account in minutes at oldglorybank.com. We stand with you.
Just launched this week from the Elder Shop, new So Much for Climate Change shirt and hoodie, inspired by the irony we're all seeing, like Tesla's going up in flames. This gear says what everyone's thinking out loud and clear. Perfect for anyone who's had enough of the climate hysteria and wants to bring a little truth and a little humor to the conversation. Grab yours right now at LarryElderShop.com, and don't forget to use promo code ELDER25 for 25% off. Stand up, speak out, we've got a country to save. So a guy drives his Cybertruck to a Tesla Takedown rally, and
come on, bring it on! Bring it on!
Elon Musk is a Nazi, a fascist, right?
How stupid can they be? At least 50% of them are using Airbnb. Isn't Airbnb part of Dodge too? He's one of the people. How many of them are going to stay next weekend at Airbnb? This is the most stupid group of people I ever seen. What Elon Musk is doing for this country is saving it so people can have Social Security 10 years from now.
I believe you said they're going to have more.
What?
More Social Security. You just announced that.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, where are you from?
I'm originally from Israel, and my husband is from England.
Yeah, I'm from England,
We immigrated to this wonderful country 40 years ago, and we are proud American, and Elon is a proud American. He's saving this country, and these people are stupid. You know, each one of them, about a year ago, was driving their Tesla, their environmentally correct Tesla, you know.
Suddenly it's not environmentally correct.
Suddenly it's not environmentally correct to drive a Tesla. How stupid can you be?
Also, I'd like to add to this, the people who call Musk a Nazi have no idea what a Nazi is. A Nazi is somebody who tries to kill Jews.
I know who Nazis are. I'm Jewish. I know, but I can't.
I wasn't talking to you. Can I speak?
I don't know what Nazis are. Half these people are Jewish. I know. My family died in the Holocaust. So don't tell me I don't know what Nazis are. Who here knows what a Nazi is?
See, this is exactly what they try to do. They try to shut you down while you're making a few points. But let me carry on. So first of all, Musk is a visionary. America is lucky to have such a talented guy as Musk. Also, the idea that he's cutting back down on government inefficiency and fraud. Clearly, there's a huge amount of... See, this is what they're like. Yeah, they're shouting a disrupt song. Yeah, they can't handle the fact that somebody's getting some facts out here.
So, sir, I'm going to give you a...
By the way, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to these guys. Musk is... People should be very glad to have Musk here. He's a great guy. And these guys are pretty much crazies. I would say they're very, very crazy. And you're an immigrant. They're shouting at an immigrant right now. Yeah. I am an immigrant. I'm proud of America. And I'm proud of Elon Musk. He's a great guy. And the fact that he's doing this for no money at all, Musk is a hero for America. And if you listen to how these people behave, and their wild accusations about everybody being a Nazi, you realize just how pathetic they are. That's all I have to say. They're forming an angry mob around this immigrant right now.
And they came yesterday. No, that's a fact.
I know for a fact that there's massive waste in the U.S. government.
So you think that curing cancer is a waste?
That's a nonsensical thing. You're just trying to throw it.
That's a fact.
There are millions of people who, for the government, I can guarantee you there'll be no delay in the cure for cancer. And by the way, what's this guy been doing for the last 20 years?
Where's DEI when you need it? Not a lot of diversity during Tesla Takedown Day.
Now, I've been here for a couple hours now. To be honest, the group of people, it looks like one kind of demographic here. It's not the most diverse group.
You mean Democratic Party, that demographic?
I would kind of say like maybe like boomer age, like white people. I've talked to a lot of people who are retired. Are you retired?
I am, yeah. I still have some retirement careers like venture capital investing and background acting and movies and TV, so mostly retired though.
Do you think the Tesla Global Takedown Day needs a DEI initiative?
I think it would be great. I'm in favor of DEI. DEI though is complicated, as with most things, because how far back can you go to fix wrongs, to right wrongs? Who deserves somebody that's a descendant of slaves? But
have you given any reparations?
I can't think of anything personally directly.
What do you do for work? Are you retired?
I'm retired now. Yeah, I think most of the people here are retired, and I'd like to see a lot more young people out.
What do you think about Elon Musk giving Starlink to Ukraine?
Giving Starlink to Ukraine.
So they can have access to internet.
Well, I don't think he would ever do that.
No, he did.
Oh, he did? When did he do that?
A couple years back. Once the war broke out.
Are they still able to use it?
Yes.
Oh, well, I think that's a good thing. I'm surprised it hasn't been taken back.
Look at that. We're finding good common ground for everyone today. So would you be willing to thank Elon Musk today?
That's an iffy. No, I don't think so.
Despite him giving internet access to Ukraine?
No. He needs to get out of our government. We didn't elect him. He needs to go. And
what do you think of Dr. Fauci?
I love Dr. Fauci.
Do you think we elected him?
He was appointed by our president, so I think all he did was speed up the vaccination. I'm a registered nurse, so I really believe in vaccinations. And
how many vaccines have you had?
Of COVID, I've had about 5 now, and I'm going to get my next one next week. And I haven't gotten sick. I've been very careful, very clean, and I haven't gotten sick.
No mask on today?
No, I'm outdoors. I usually don't wear one outdoors.
Not anymore? Not
anymore, but I do indoors still when I go to public places. But, vaccines get a bad rap, but they're not 100%.
Are you worried about RFK?
Definitely.
Do you disavow the attacks we've seen on Teslas around the country?
I don't think it's wrong to burn cars and to do that. I do think it's all right, and it's our First Amendment right to protest and let people know that we are against what Elon Musk and Doge is doing. That is our First Amendment right.
So the people here are shouting to sell their Tesla. Who do they sell their Tesla to? And once the Tesla's sold, what do they do with it?
Well, you could try to sell your Tesla, but the used car market for Teslas is going down. So if you sell it, I would sell it now before it gets worse, because it is.
But the person who buys it, what do they do with it?
When you buy a Tesla, basically what you're saying is, I would never buy a Tesla from them because you're supporting Elon Musk and what he's doing. You need to stand up for yourself and tell them that we're not going to support you when you don't support us as regular taxpayers who are paying for Social Security, who want Medicare.
No, but the people are shouting, sell your Tesla. So the person who buys it, what do they do with it?
I wouldn't buy a Tesla.
Okay, but the people who are shouting, sell your Tesla, who are they shouting? Who is it to be sold to?
I would just sell it. Get rid of it. There's a lot.
To who?
Just get rid of it. Just dump it.
But then the person who buys it, they can keep it.
I don't care what they do. I would never personally own a Tesla.
What if they're shouting, sell your Tesla to someone who's just bought a Tesla off the third-party market like you guys are suggesting?
I just wouldn't drive one around because I think it symbolizes something that I wouldn't want to represent.
I know, but I'm asking about the chant.
About the what?
The chant, when they're saying sell your Tesla.
Because I think what we're saying is, if you drive that car around, whether you bought it from a third party, whether you bought it from there, you are saying that you support that industry, that person in particular. There's a lot of EV cars out there. Toyota has one, there's Rivian, there's...
I know, but the people are shouting to sell it.
Yes.
Free service.
Free service? How about you pay for the repairs? Write a check. You just bought a Tesla.
I can wipe it off
with a
towel.
No,
it's not.
No, it is a hate crime, sir. It is a hate crime. Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently, it doesn't work.
Did you write a swastika on the? It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
Did you? Is it a swastika?
I was probably putting my keys in my pocket.
Is it a swastika?
Have you looked at your car? Is there a key mark?
Yes. Is it a swastika?
That's impossible.
It's at the police right now. It's being fingerprinted.
What do you mean it's being fingerprinted?
Because they're trying to track you down. Thankfully, Facebook tracked you down. So your business, your freaking livelihood, everything now.
Listen,
because you chose to write so to tell Facebook that you're sorry for writing a swastika on a Tesla.
Listen, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
And I
For what?
apologize.
For what?
I have nothing against
For
your
what?
car, and I have nothing against you.
So why
okay?
would you write a swastika on a Tesla?
Obviously, I have something against Elon Musk, but that's not the
So
way
Elon
to
Musk
show my...
owns that car because
No,
it was
he
bought
owns
and
the
paid
company.
for. It was bought and paid for a long time
That's
ago.
why it's misguided, and obviously, I did not intend to do this.
All right,
sir.
we're gonna wait for the.
Now, this TikToker says violence is preferable to having Bernie Sanders-like town halls where people discuss their differences.
The alternative is rioting. It's vandalism. It's breaking things. If you're like, oh no, well, you talked about Bernie and AOC as controlled opposition, but like, what's the alternative? The alternative is vandalism and rioting and like destroying property. Every single person that has vandalized a Tesla has done more politically than your vote ever has. Like, you need to know that. You need to know that you going and breaking a Tesla's window is more politically effective than like Bernie's rhetoric on like his like tour of all these stadiums. Progressives, the left, like they have never won any of the rights, the civil rights or the changes that we want in the ballot box. We have done that by literally rioting, by literally burning things. So that's the alternative.
This reminds me of a couple of scenes from that Australian series called Mr. In Between.
A merry little Christmas.
Dino balls. Yeah, that looks great.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to swap. Sorry.
Good on you, mate.
Okay, and lucky last, number 12 is Trent. Come on up here, son. Come on.
Sounds broken.
Is
that the shake gently one? That's the shake gently one, yes.
I bet you it's teacups. I bet you. Yeah. Ah, see, I told you.
Oh, the couple's together. See, they even look like the two of you. That's perfect.
Thanks, sis.
Take these. Go on, you want these?
Well, Dad, those do look good.
He's going for the headphones.
You want, take these.
But I think I like what's in the box.
Oh, you're not.
Trent.
Come on.
Really?
What is wrong with
What?
you?
Hey, it's the rules.
Little kid, man. Seriously. What are you going to do with a unicorn?
I don't know yet.
All right, everybody.
Let's clean the place up, pick up all the papers, then we'll go out and have a drink outside. What do you say?
Bag. Merry Christmas. Grab a bag. And we'll put it on you. Robbie,
Good on you, Robbie.
How's it going, dude?
Yeah, good. Smoke?
Nah, I gave up.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, you should. Oh, you know that unicorn candle?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Is there any chance you can give it back?
Why?
Well, my daughter, she's kind of obsessed with unicorns at the moment.
Yeah.
And, I was hoping maybe, you can give it back and, I'll try you $100 or something.
You trying to bribe me to give your daughter the unicorn candle?
I wouldn't say I'm bribing you. More like I'm asking you a favour, And if you can do it, I'll show a bit of gratitude and throw you some cash.
Do I look like I need the money?
I don't think you look like you need the money.
You know how much I make in a year?
Why are you being a dickhead?
Yeah, I think one of us has been a dickhead.
Why the would you take a present off a little kid? You're a grown man. What the do you want with a girly candle?
Because it's kitschy.
It's kitschy.
Yeah, kitschy.
1 minute later.
Ray, how have you been?
Yeah, good, mate.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
Nah, I'm good.
Are you sure? Nothing at all?
Beat my girlfriend's brother up over Christmas.
Okay. What happened?
I went round to her parents' place and, we did the whole Secret Santa thing. My daughter got this unicorn candle, which she was pretty chuffed about, and my girlfriend's brother decided he wanted it, and when it was his turn, he took it off her.
So you assaulted him?
Well, he's been a kid, so, no.
So you assaulted him?
Yeah, pretty much.
And how did your girlfriend feel about this?
Well, she's not my girlfriend anymore, so.
Sorry, mate. I mean, without wanting to state the obvious, can you see how violence is perhaps not the best way for you to resolve your disputes?
No, I think it generally is. But, just don't do it in front of your girlfriend,
What's great about it? I mean, it doesn't seem to have worked for you this time.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't,
Can you give me one example of violence ever working?
World War II.
World War II.
Mm-hmm. We didn't beat the Nazis just by talking to them. We used violence.
Okay, sure. So every now and then, violence is necessary as a last resort. But for you, with your girlfriend's brother, I mean, would you call that an example of violence working?
Yeah, look, I shouldn't have done what I did. I'm not making excuses, but I don't think you can say that all violence is bad. I mean, I think there's good violence and bad violence.
What's good violence? World War II.
Hey, so there's good violence and bad violence. Good violence is riding a swastika on a Tesla, right?
Do you think EVs are better for the planet than gas-powered cars?
I think so.
Yes.
Probably not.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I think so. I don't think so.
I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah, electric is probably the best way to go.
When I first began hearing this business about net zero emission, I felt conflicted.
We will eliminate in the state of California the sales of internal combustion engines.
And most countries in the world have already signed up for it. I love my gasoline-powered cars. I don't want the planet to be damaged, so I just don't know what to believe. Is it really true that electric vehicles are better for the planet than gasoline-powered vehicles?
So without more mechanical parts moving in the vehicle, it's instantaneous. Torque is instantaneous.
The batteries are lasting very long.
Charge them at your house using solar is amazing.
That's it? Wow. I needed to get my hands on one of those cars.
What is your opinion of electric vehicles?
Oh boy, sorry. I'm not real fond of electric vehicles. They're good for around town. If you long distance, they create anxiety. Had one fire, sitting in the parking lot, just burst into flames. And then you're having a problem with the battery. What do you do with these batteries when they go bad?
When I think about visiting Ogbog Bloshi, it brought me to tears.
This metal to the lithium-ion batteries demands skyrocket in the past decade.
It's hard to get one mine permitted in the United States, which means we're going to be relying on those people who control those minerals, and that's China.
And I'm not willing to financially support that humanity atrocity.
An electric vehicle is a computer with 4 wheels and some seats.
The components of these electric vehicles are made in China, so there could be tracking mechanisms put into Americans' cars.
And I believe that the United States needs to stand up against that.
And my father always told my brothers and me the following: hard work wins. You cannot control the outcome, but you are 100% in control of the effort. And before you moan and groan, ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? My one question, my big overriding question would be real simple. Are EVs better for the planet than gasoline-powered vehicles? Now, about homelessness in Los Angeles. Last November, the LA Times wrote, nearly half of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bassett's record $1.3 billion homelessness budget for fiscal 2023-2024 went unspent, according to an analysis by the city controller. The controller found that only $599 million had actually been spent. An additional $195 million was encumbered, leaving at least $513 million unspent. And in March, the Times wrote, California has failed to adequately monitor the outcomes of its vast spending on homelessness programs, according to a state audit, raising questions about whether billions of dollars meant to thwart the crisis have been worth it, as the number of people living unsheltered has soared. California has spent $20 billion over the past 5 years dedicated to the state's homelessness crisis, including funneling money towards supporting shelters and subsidizing rent. Still, homelessness grew 6% in 2023 from the year prior to more than 180,000 people, according to the federal point-in-time data. As far as I'm concerned, the homeless should have 4 options: a bed or shelter if available, and there's plenty of money to make that happen, rehab, a mental institution, or jail. Here's what President Ronald Reagan said about homeless.
I recently asked my friend's little girl what she wanted to be when she grows up. She said she wanted to be the President of the United States. Both of her parents, liberal Democrats, were standing there. So I asked her, if you were president, what would be the first thing you would do? Well, she replied, I'd give food and houses to all the homeless people. Her parents beamed. Wow, what a worthy goal, I told her. But you don't have to wait until you're president to do that. You see, you can come over to my house right now and you can mow the lawn, pull weeds, and sweep my driveway, and I'll pay you $50. Then I'll take you over to the grocery store where that homeless guy hangs out, and you can give him the $50 to use toward food and a new house. She thought that over for a few seconds, then she looked me straight in the eye and asked, why doesn't the homeless guy come over and do the work and you can just pay him the $50? I said, welcome to the Republican Party. Her parents are still not speaking to me.
Governor Gavin Newsom has the nerve to say the Democratic Party has become toxic when he has been a big player in its toxicity. Reparations for black descendants of slaves, even though California was a slave state, check. Ban the sale of gas-powered cars by the year 2035, check. Not allowing parents to be notified when their child wants to be called a different gender, check. Mandating a gender-neutral toy store aisle if you're a big toy retailer, check. Supporting Proposition 47 and 57, both of which are soft on crime measures, check, check. Mandating an ethnic studies course before you graduate from high school, check. He has never supported a law opposing biological men from competing against women in sports. He shut down the state because of COVID in a more draconian way than did any other governor. Even Bill Maher called him out on this.
I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side?
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff. I see today the Trump administration they talked about, I don't know if this is true, but they talked about the fact that California had a rule that schools cannot be required to notify parents if their kids in school have changed their gender, their pronouns. That's the kind of thing, even though it doesn't affect a lot of people, that makes a lot of people go, well, you know what, That's the party without common sense. Now, if that's your state, how are you?
Well, I just disagree with that. I mean, the law was you would be fired. A teacher would be fired if a teacher did not report or snitch on a kid talking about their gender identity. I just think that was wrong. I think teachers should teach. I don't think they should be required to turn in kids. And by the way,
we're talking about their parents. How can you snitch? The idea of a snitch and a parent to me doesn't compute.
Well, I don't. But what is the job of a teacher? It's to teach. If Johnny's talking about some identity issue or some issue about liking someone of the same sex, is the teacher's job to then report that? By the way, in this law, the teacher can still do that, but they can't be fired if that's it can't be fired if that's not what they do. And that's something I think is, I just think that was fair.
Speaking of Bill Maher, guess who I had dinner with President Trump at the White House?
I'm confident you guys would sit down and have a good time, have a laugh.
Everybody tells that to me. Everybody says you'd like him, and he
would.
He'd like you. I hope he does.
He told me one time. I told him last time I was coming to do the podcast. I said I'm going to do Bill Maher's podcast. He's like, really? He's like, tell him I love him.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, right. What? I tell him I love him. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
See, this could be you and President Trump's story.
What?
This could be you and President Trump's story. We're older, we're wiser. We've gone through a lot of things differently in politics. Come to a spot where, like, I guarantee you guys could sit down and be like, you would see what I see.
No,
you would see what I know in this man and be like,
I do already.
Cool. He might. I'm sure he would do the same.
I do already, and I've given him there are moments when I see why people love him so much, and I even like him a lot because.
Do you feel like you ever have to double down?
No.
Because of your TV show, because of this, that, and the other.
No, sir.
And imagine if this can happen between you and President Trump. Right? When you want to set a precedent for people coming together, bringing this country together. If you guys sit down and be like, like you did this, and just have a conversation.
Okay, but Bob, it is a little different because we're friends who don't have that kind of power. He has a lot of power about how things actually are done in this country. So
and you might be able to influence that by being a friend of his.
I would love that.
You don't have to go suck his.
I won't.
No, I know you won't. But I guarantee, and by the way, but you guys doing that could set a huge precedent for the world.
Bring me to the White House with you.
I'll ask him.
I'll fly to Nashville. We'll go out the night before.
You'll get on Air One. That's my jet.
I'll fly to Nashville. We'll go out the night before and do something completely unpresidential. And then we'll fly to Washington the next day, and you'll bring me to meet President Trump. And then I'll be in Guantanamo Bay. Like, we got him. Well, he's here.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am?
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
Not a dare. No, just like maybe this is a beginning to heal America. Now, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, you know, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House, you glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away, you know? So if they expect me to be leaving in a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't. And I think it's going to be, you know, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but you got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it.
And how did it go?
We came to dinner, me, Bill, Dana White, and it could not have been better. Everyone was so surprised, so pleasant. The most shocking thing to me was, you know, Bill's obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but he's donated a lot of money to other politicians. You know, you've had Biden, Clinton, Obama, everybody. He had never been to the White House, and the president was so gracious. He took us up to the private residence. We saw the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom, and I was like, "You've never been here, Bill?" And I was like, "How about this, President Trump? You know, extending this olive branch, and we talked about things we had in common. You know, ending wokeness. You know, securing the border." Right. You know, the president was asking him what he thought about policy, you know, going on with Iran and Israel and things. It just meant, it blew my mind. It was, right. I was, you know, very, very proud.
Bob, do you think he walked away liking him? Because, you know, Trump is the type of person that you got to meet him to understand it.
100%, 100%. Me and Dana both said there's never been that's ever met the president in any scenario that's walked away without saying like, wow. What a great guy. He's so funny, so engaging. He's so smart. And absolutely, Bill even said to me, you know, after that, he goes, wow, that was, you know, everybody's mind was kind of blown. Even the president's, I think, because the president called me late night last night. And, you know, everyone was a little suspect about going into this. And even the president kind of alerted to me a little bit like, what do you got me doing? Right. And I go, man, we're just trying to show people that, you know, even though we've been pretty hard on each other, that when you get face to face, maybe we could have a little more civility in this country and try to bring people together. And that was my whole intention. You know, and God bless Bill too for, he even said going into this, he goes, because I go, Bill, I know, you know, some of this Hollywood stuff, it would be great for you to get thrown out, and it'd probably be good for you to double down and be like, you know, I can't stand this guy. And he goes, Bob, I'm not gonna sabotage something that potentially could bring us and other people together, you know, just to show that, you know, that family member that you kind of divided with over politics, or that person at the school when you drop your kids off that you know is a left-wing person, and you're like, that maybe we'll just, you know, hey, we can find things we have in common. And it gets so easy to go on social media. And one thing we learned through COVID was that isolation breeds hatred. We need to get out and talk to one another.
Did you know that a lot of black women voted for Trump? Give it up for Brandon Strzok, a January 6er pardoned by President Trump.
What does this sign mean to you?
You know, black women are probably the least respected in America. Their voices aren't heard. Their issues aren't paid attention to. Many white women look beyond their own personal interests, and they leave black women out of the conversation. And I think America needs to change about that.
What are we not trusting them to do right now?
How to care for our country, how to care for each other, how to stand up and fight for things that aren't right.
Millions of black women voted for Trump. Should we trust them?
Ooh, I'll take your hand in mine through the...
I don't think that's true. Millions of black women voted for Trump?
Way too many. Way too many. It is...
Should we trust them?
I don't know.
Maybe not trust black women then.
That's not true. I do trust black women.
Who'd vote for Kamala Harris?
I think... He wants to know if I trust the black women who voted for Trump.
I think they voted against their own interests, so it's really hard to put the idea of trust together with someone who is continuing to vote against themselves, right?
So it sounds like they don't have very good judgment.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's not having good judgment. I don't think they necessarily connect the dots, and I do...
They're stupid.
No, they're not stupid, but I think it's...
No, I'm just asking, because... But it is hard to trust people who are stupid and have bad judgment, right? And black women who vote for Trump are stupid and have bad judgment.
No, we did not say that. Nope.
I think they don't connect the dots, and so they're looking at only certain things and thinking that's important, and not connecting the dots.
It sounds like those black women need to be educated by white women like you.
Yeah, not
true. Not.
They just need a good white woman to come in and tell them what's up.
You're putting words in our mouths again, and you're trading it.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that.
This idea that white people are going to be the white saviors pisses me off.
But if white women like you don't educate them, how are they ever going to learn to vote the way that they're supposed to vote?
You know, as a white woman, I'm happy to help educate and talk to people, but it's not my job to go convince somebody else.
I hope you're able to get through to some of those untrustworthy, stupid black women. Good luck.
Finally, nobody move. Nobody gets hurt.
Nobody move, nobody get hurt. Nobody move, nobody get hurt. Natty down yam cattle, natty down yam dirt. He down yam cattle, natty down yam dirt. He come from the planet of Earth.
Wait. Is that my bag?
My briefcase?
Is it your briefcase? Yeah, it is. Why? You want it back?
What about your wallet?
What else you got for me? Huh?
Hey, it happens. Like you've never temporarily lost something? Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Impactful Pictures, Old Glory Bank, and Patriot Mobile. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast, and make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these awesome videos. And remember, we've got a country to save.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
Basically.